Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to episode 208. Dallas, how are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Ellie, how are things?
Things are good. Quiet. Thank you. How are you?
Good. All right, let's start. Let's get started right away. I'm trusting everybody else is good as well. About Tesla, what's the latest on FSD rollout?
Well, we have the big rollout in the past few days, as you all know. So version 12.5.4.1 went really wide. And by now it has reached about 80% of the fleet in the US and Canada per TSLA data. 12,
Great.
that's
80% of the US and Canada fleet has which version you said? 12 dot what?
12.5.4.1. So that's
12.5.4.1.
the predominant FSD version
Okay.
these
So
days.
this has actually smart summon and no steering wheel nag.
That's
80%.
correct.
Wow.
Except for legacy cars, they may not have some of those features.
Those legacy
Real
cars
quick,
should
Yaman.
upgrade to the new. Go ahead.
The audio on YouTube is popping just a little bit.
All right, let's fix that right now. Let's fix that right now. Very good. All right, about Tesla, please continue.
Yeah, so and on the early access side, there is a new version that just went out. It's 12.5.6.1. So that's an update to 12.5.6. Those two versions, they only go to a very limited group of customers right now. And that's the one, that's the version that's supposed to have like, the same code for the same model for highway and city streets. So that will be the big next update that we're still waiting on, but it's hopefully it will go wider than just a few users.
Thank you. About Tesla, what needs to happen for us to say, okay, this is now feature complete? I know one of them is reversing. So the Teslas can't do, FSD cannot do yet. 3-point turns, can't reverse. What else in your mind?
Well, I think there are quite a few minor, smaller things which are not that small in their significance. Like, school zones are not properly handled. Certain turns are not handled. The flashing yellows are still an issue, as I understand. At least the version I have still struggles with that. So those are, and there are certain scenarios where the signs need to be read and understood properly, like when the right turn is allowed or when it is not. So things like that. So it's the things that have been a problem for a long time, and it looks like they just don't make it the top priority yet. So that's the big. Those are important things.
Here's what I'm trying to understand. So speed limits, it does, but it doesn't do a perfect job. Sometimes it gets it wrong, but that functionality is there. What I'm trying to understand is what functionality is not there that has to be there. So reversing 3-point turns, school zones, like you mentioned, reacting to emergency vehicles, reacting to policemen that kind of showing signs with their hands. Anything else?
Like entering driveways, it would not enter certain types of driveways. Mine, for example, it would never do it. There are some other scenarios that it just refuses to do. Like obviously being able to park in the garage or
But see,
exit
those
the
are
garage
not like
automatically.
that's not necessary for Robotaxi services. Like for example, Waymo doesn't enter any sort of garages or handle driveways. You can just walk to outside of your, establishment, I guess, to grab a Robotaxi. That's what I'm trying to understand. So let's go to JC real quick. JC, Christopher.
Yeah, Yaman, I will tell you one thing I would correct you on. It definitely does reverse in 3-point turns. It just only does it in actual smart summon right now. It's not in the main FSD stack. So it definitely, I just saw it yesterday when I did ASS in the HEV parking lot. It did a reverse 3-point turn and it parked in a diagonal spot. It just doesn't do it on the regular FSD stack yet.
Okay, because JC just corrected me, he is not banned from Tesla Live forever. And no, I'm kidding. Thank you for correcting me, JC. I stand corrected that FSD can handle 3-point turns in parking lots, but not outside of parking lots just yet. Okay, Dallas.
I mean, yeah, I would argue auditory communication with other vehicles is a requirement because people communicate with other drivers. So whether that's through an LLM, there needs to be some sort of audio communications with other vehicles.
There has to be audio communications with other vehicles, but Waymo doesn't do that today, and they offer robotaxi rides in volume in certain areas. I think that it would be helpful. I would put that in the category of helpful, but not necessarily required. Okay, Drew Soul says, let's get to 300 likes. And if you remember, Drew Soul gifted dozens of memberships. So he's the boss. So do what Drew says. Be like Drew. And Luce is going to explain to you guys why it's important to go up to the top of your screens and hit that like button on the YouTube stream. Luce?
It's important unless Yaman is going to be homeless. Anyway.
Luce, you didn't do a good job. You want to try again?
Well, it's important.
Yeah, I think that people should respect that this space has to grow and become financially sustainable. If they're going to come here every day and benefit from the space, you should do your part. So Luce, move down to listening mode and come back when you're ready to do your part. Amped up, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say I think honking is very important too because I saw a video where one person was in the middle lane, truck was changing lanes, but there's also someone in the left lane. So you need to honk, not to get hit. So I think that's a safety issue.
All right. You need to honk not to get hit. But how do you explain Waymo not honking and still offering robotaxi rides?
Yeah, that I don't know. Good question.
Yeah. Dallas?
The explanation for that is Waymo's not the gold standard. They're not doing it perfectly. They just happen to have an operating business model, which is losing a ton of money. But we can't compare them as the perfect use case.
But they're not losing money because they're not honking. So what I want to understand is really just what do we need to see to say, okay, this is now feature complete. We are now in the March 9s. So reversing outside the parking lots is one. I really haven't heard anybody say anything else so far. We have a lot of guesses, but is that the only one? Reacting to policemen with their hand signs. Hustletown.
Yeah, being able to reverse for me is definitely going to clear up a whole lot of these disengagements. I think once they're able to do that, they're able to create a bunch of situations where they can get themselves out of certain situations. But when it comes to school zones, I just uploaded a video showing that it did operate in a school zone quite admirably, but it didn't tell me it was doing it. The speed limit was 30 and it was going 20 with a lot of space in front of it during a school zone during the right time. So I don't know exactly what is going to be necessary to be feature complete, but it's got to be able to reverse and do 3-point turns.
Okay, 3-point turns, got to reverse. BB says still doesn't work in school zones. Does it ever handle school zones, Omar? Or is it just that, it's not perfect just yet?
Um, it probably does do the correct thing in some scenarios. I saw someone post a video today where it looked like it was doing the correct thing, but it could just be that they don't want to train the model to handle this until it can do it 100%. Because, if you just have people handle it, then they'll always sort of supervise and handle it. If you start handling it like, let's say, 95% of the time, then 5% of the time, the person might think the car is going to hit it and it actually doesn't stop and there's an accident or something. So clearly, the model can be trained to do anything a human can do. You just have to show it. But they're going to want to show it at a time when I think they can really get it to 100%.
Okay, thank you. What else is needed, do you think, for us to say, okay, this is feature complete? We're now at March 9th.
I mean, it is pretty close to feature complete. Reverse parking and unparking, and some little things like that. There's some little scenarios here and there, but you don't really need new code or new features to handle these scenarios. You just need to show it more examples. So I would say probably when they ship V13 and it can reverse, it can do 3-point turns, it can park and unpark, I would call that feature complete. It's certainly more feature complete than anything we've ever seen in the world on any other car.
Yeah. Park and unpark, Omar said, which is similar to what about Tesla said earlier, handling gates and stuff. But again, I think these are, it's not
It
required.
already handles gates.
Yeah. But these are not really getting into your garage. These are not really required for a Robotaxi service. I think those are nice to have. Waymo doesn't do it, for example, and they're able to offer millions of rides, Robotaxi driverless rides without those. I mean, so we're close, we're very close then to feature complete. As soon as Tesla gets 3-point turns out of the parking lot onto the streets, then we're feature complete. Sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. You literally do not have to drive anymore. You can summon this thing out of the parking spot or out of your garage, get in the car, have it take you to your destination, and then auto park. And then you get out, you summon it again. Right? So feature complete is it can do every single part of your driving for the day. Unless you have an intervention, there'll be no reason for you to touch the wheel at all.
All right, great. About Tesla earlier mentioned that 80% of the US and Canada fleet has 12.5.4.1 with actually smart summon and no steering wheel nag. This is incredible. I really hope that we get to hear some data, some progress on today's earnings call. Maybe some sort of a update, maybe on take rate, or I think they're going to hopefully they're going to share how many miles FSD has driven, how the how the responses to free trials, what the plan is going forward for FSD unsupervised. Some of these details that people are hoping for on the 1010 event and that we didn't get. Hopefully, we'll get those in today's earnings call. And speaking of which, we're going to do a watch party on YouTube for the earnings call. Omar, are you going to be available or are you going to be doing something else?
I think me and Sawyer have to go on this space with these guys who paid us, but I'm kind of regretting taking their money now. Okay, it was $1,250, but now I have to go to all these spaces. But yeah, I think we have to do that. But I'll try and come in here if I can.
Okay. Well, in absence of Omar, we'll probably just do it YouTube exclusive because I do need to create some exclusive content for YouTube so that we can get to this 10,000 magical subscriber number and get the contribution margin positive. I think we're creating a lot of content, which X doesn't pay spaces anyway, so monetize spaces. This has been going on for 2 years. I think we have to grow this space on both platforms and then other platforms as well. So YouTube watch party for the earnings call is going to start about 1 hour before. So let's say, so we're done here at 3 Eastern. Let's take a half-hour break and then head over to YouTube at 3:30. And I'm going to review last quarter's results. We're going to go over the last quarter's investor relations deck line by line, and remind ourselves where we were last quarter, and also build some expectations for what we're going to see in investor relations, and then what we hope to hear on the earnings call. And then we're going to create a list, and then we're going to go against that list as the earnings call happens. I'm going to be in live chat. I hope that other speakers will be able to join in live chat as well. And we'll have a live discussion during the earnings call on YouTube. So if you want to be part of that, head over through the link at the top of our screens and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Great. Inflexity.
How are you, Yaman?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. So we didn't have any big news today, anything in the market or anything. The only one big headline that I saw was Wave, the UK company doing autonomy, is going to start testing their cars in San Francisco this year.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Finflexity. The news update. Dallas?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify something. I know we talked a lot about the trials and which version people were getting, and there was some concern that they were getting the same version as the last trial. But my friend, who actually has a Model Y that does not pay for FSD, received the trial, and she sent me a screenshot of her car, and she's like, "What is ass? What is ass?" And I was like explaining it to her. And so that clarifies right there that they didn't ship for everyone, at least the 12.3.6 version that we thought they were. There were actually some people getting the version with no nag and ass straight away through the trial, which is awesome. I was hoping that would happen.
Well,
Great, thank you.
they
Dallas.
actually upgraded everybody to 12.4.1, but it wasn't necessarily in conjunction with each other. So some people got the free trial and they were on 12.3.6, and then they got upgraded soon after. Some people got upgraded and then they got the free trial. So the intention was never obviously to give people a trial of 12.3.6. They knew the update was going out.
All right, great. Dallas, thank you very much. Omar, thank you for the clarification as well. All right. Anything else so far on what we've discussed? Anything from the speaker board? Otherwise, I want to hear about Omar's repair estimate for his Cybertruck that he just got. Let's get some details. I'm always looking out for anecdotal evidence on Tesla's service experience. This is an area that is improving fast and in some ways better than any dealership, any car maker can ever provide because of how connected Tesla's cars are. But we need to get the facts out there. So we really want to hear from you if you've had good or bad Tesla service experience. So let's get some details from Omar. Omar?
Yeah, so my Cybertruck got backed into at an angle. The tailgate and the rear quarter panel on the right side were damaged. Tesla has a collision repair shop here. Luckily, actually, they have several collision repair shops in the area. So I don't have to go to some third-party body shop. And, obviously this is dependent on availability. Not everyone's going to have it. But in major markets like California, they have them. And I don't have to go to a third-party body shop and have them talk with Tesla and negotiate back and forth. I can just have the manufacturer repair it themselves. So I went in there. I said, okay, will you let me know how much it costs and everything? Obviously, I have insurance, and the person who hit it has insurance, and their insurance is going to cover it. But I was just curious to know what the replacement cost would be. So it came to, I think, about $36.90 or something like that. Let me see, what exactly was it? But I was talking about how I had that little dent in the Model S. I had scraped the Model S against the garage door, and that was, I think, $5,500. So this is substantially cheaper, despite it being a much more serious collision. It was actually a 3681, much more serious collision with another vehicle. It was actually cheaper to replace. And, of course, you pay whatever the deductible is. They actually gave me a discount for using Tesla insurance, even though the other party didn't have Tesla insurance, because I had Tesla insurance, they were able to give me a Tesla insurance discount. And that reduced,
What was that discount?
it was substantial. It reduced, I think, the price of the discount by, or the price of the repair by like $1,000 to $2,000 or something like that. So
Wow. Okay, so if you have Tesla insurance, you get a material discount on repairs. This will only make people want Tesla insurance even more. So maybe Elon will get a question on this, but yeah, I think Tesla insurance, when it gets to scalability, it has some potential. So maybe we'll get an update on that. We'll see. I'm not sure, but that's amazing, Omar. That's amazing. That your Cybertruck, a very significant, somebody hit you, very significant damage, and the repair was cheaper than what you had experienced with the Model S earlier, even though Cybertruck production ramp is still at its early stages. So there might be part shortages. They may not be kind of fully streamlined on the service side of things just yet. Even then, Cybertruck is cheaper to repair.
yeah, and you know what I liked is they said, hey, the Cybertruck is so new. They're just getting out there. We honestly haven't repaired that many. What we're going to do is just bring you in for a first visit. We're going to look at the damage, figure out what parts need to be ordered. Then you can go back, you can take the truck. We'll schedule you a couple weeks later once we get the parts in. The parts came in quickly within 2 to 3 weeks. I brought the truck back, dropped it off, and they said, okay, we got the parts in stock. We're ready to do the repair now. And they sent me some photos of the repair. It's actually really interesting how they repair it. You literally just pop the panel off and just put a new one on. And they can then recycle, the old panel, maybe melt it down, make a new panel or something like that. But it's just kind of a simple repair, right? Just pop it off, put the new one on. And you really kind of look at the Cybertruck on the inside. I posted one photo and it's like this very sort of beautiful, elegant structure where you've got this traditional aluminum underbody with large structural castings that they've used on the Model Y. But then you've got this stainless steel exoskeleton or stainless steel skin that they kind of put on top. And it's really strong. I mean, it can take a beating. I was able to just drive around like normal even after the truck was hit, didn't affect anything. But it's actually, a lot of people said, oh, well, are you going to have to like replace the whole truck if one panel gets bent or something? No, they're not stupid. They thought about this and it is actually pretty straightforward to repair if you do need to repair it.
Yeah. Okay, great. We have a couple of clarifying questions in YouTube Live chat, a couple of good questions. I'm going to ask them in a second, but just curious. So you said earlier you wish you hadn't taken their money. Why? From the other
What do you mean?
folks.
Did
The
I say that?
$1,000. No, the space, the other space or whatever.
Oh, well, just because then you have to do all this stuff, And it's not like it's just always like BS, like, and let's thank our sponsor. Da da da. This is like, I mean, I'm not. It's not like you. It's like, and then you got to really talk about the sponsor and like really discuss it, and it's like, man, you know,
Yeah,
and
I got
you're
you.
not really saying much. You're kind of just there, and it's not really as much fun for me.
How long? So you're saying this space is more fun? Got it. Thank you. How
Exactly.
long? How long is that contract run?
It's so much more fun that I come here for free. No, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, there's like a few, like, I don't know. It's,
Okay, you don't have to share details. That's fine.
yeah.
All right, that's fine. Cool. All right. Let's see. Ken asks on YouTube live chat, was it less expensive? So is a Cybertruck repair less expensive before or after Tesla insurance discount? So is it less expensive because of the Tesla insurance or because of the way it's built?
Because of the Tesla insurance. This applies to all their vehicles.
Okay, so if you exclude that Tesla insurance, is the repair estimate for the Cybertruck the same as similar to Model S then?
Well, the Model S also had a Tesla insurance discount, so.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, great. And then the second question from JOR3L says, did Tesla service give you a loaner? Did you get a loaner?
They offered one, but I said I've got another Tesla. I don't need a loaner.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. Cool. Ellie.
Yeah, when Tesla want to get better, they do it, and when they focus, they do it so much better than what we expect. Like we have people coming to the service with so many good reactions. They explaining to us how, oh my God, we came to the store, to the service center, and the guy was waiting in the lot. He knew our name. He told us to get out of the car right away. It got us in, check in and go drink the coffee. Maybe they come to the store to see if they can buy a second Tesla or something. And when they compare to what they have before the new service center, they always complain about how long it was and how frustrated it was. Just to show that when they want to improve themselves, they do it, and it's just so fast and
Yeah.
so good to see it.
I think one reason why Tesla service is so much more effective than the dealership networks that the legacy automakers have is that because Tesla is so vertically integrated, and Tesla has various feedback loops that they get feedback from the cars, from any issues that previous cars had. They can incorporate these things into new models or even existing production with slight changes much more quickly than legacy automakers can, because they have to rely on feedback from legacy dealerships. So the customer has to complain to dealership, and then the dealership has to bring it to a legacy automaker, and they have several layers of management. And then they have to design it into the next version, which comes out like 7 years later. As opposed to Tesla, these things happen much more quicker. And so, I think there's a huge gap between reality and perception when it comes to Tesla service that we can shrink. Omar?
Yeah, and they really leverage their technology to provide a great customer experience. So when I have gotten in an issue with a gas car, one time someone hit my BMW, and you're on the phone with the body shop, you're on the phone with the insurance company, they're calling their insurance company, they're calling you back. It's a big headache. With Tesla, I just went into my Tesla app and I just filed a claim right there in the Tesla app. They said, okay, take some photos. I took some photos. They said, great, let's get you scheduled with a Tesla collision repair shop. It's all just in the app. Right there, it shows all the list of the latest centers. It shows what dates and times they're available. I just pick the time and it just schedules it. I never even need to talk to a person. And then I come into the service center, a little thing pops up on the screen and it says, here, check your Tesla app, da da da. It knows I'm at the service center. And they immediately come out because the car pings them and tells them that you've arrived at the service center. So they then come out and they go, "Oh, hey Omar, good to see you." And then your Tesla app, normally it has controls. You can honk the horn, flash the light, whatever, lock the car. Those controls all disappear while it's in the service center. So, people aren't like honking the horns or whatever, doing things to the car. It just goes into service mode. And then you can see what the status of the service is. You can track it live. You can text with the service representatives right there in the app. And when it's done and it's time to pay, you can pay right through the app and you can just go pick it up and go home. It's a great
Exactly.
experience that Legacy Auto can't match.
Yeah, exactly. All right. That was a real good discussion on Tesla service. Like I said, I always welcome people to bring their anecdotal experience to the space. Whether it's positive, negative, we want to hear about it. A location, what issue you had. We want to keep a close eye on Tesla service. We just crossed 100 likes on YouTube. Within the first half hour, we just crossed 100 likes on YouTube. Let's keep that going. In celebration of 100 likes, Finflexity is going to sing for us. Finflexity? Okay, Finflexity is not there right now, so Habib is going to sing for us. Habib?
Oh, I didn't hear that I'm singing. Okay. Uh, well, I can sing about Porsche service if you want to hear a little
No.
anecdotal experience.
Okay, just tell us about Porsche service.
Yeah, no. So it's actually quite important when you're comparing some of these experiences. So Porsche and Mercedes, one of the dealers here, they sell both those vehicles, and we have them. So I took the Taycan in for a recall, and they'll give you a loaner and whatnot. Just everyone's probably experienced that. However, it took almost an hour and a half just waiting to pick up my car. They want to bring you in. First, you have to meet with a service. You have to have a service manager you have to meet with. There's a line to meet with them. If they're not available right away for you, then they'll ask you to sit down in the showroom. And it is a very traditional experience, and it is really a waste of time. And I've experienced in the Taycan, which is an electric vehicle. I have the Tesla as well. I love going to the Tesla service center. Sometimes I'll drop the vehicle off the night before. You just pick it up afterwards at any time you want. You don't even have to interact with them. So it is definitely a better service experience.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Habib. And when are you selling your Taycans?
Well, it depends. We're going to see what the rate and the deal is on the new Taycan and maybe the Macan, and we'll see if we're going to upgrade.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take this matter in my own hands and do it myself. Omar?
Yeah, I've had similar experiences with my BMW. When I took it to service, I was just waiting so long just to get it. They were already done. They're like, just wait on this couch for a bit. We're going to bring it out eventually. And you're just waiting there for 15 minutes. When I recently picked my Tesla up from the service center, you can just do it all through the app. You don't even have to talk to them. You just go pick up, a little UI pops up. It says here, you can flash your lights, honk your horn to find your car in the lot. And you just get it and you drive away. And you don't even have to worry about getting your keys back from them or anything. They don't need the key. You just authorize them with the Tesla app digitally and you just get out of there. No need to talk to anybody, pay through the app. It really does save you time and just much more convenient.
Great. Alexander?
Yeah, I've never gone to a service center. In fact, everything have been solved with the mobile service, and I think that's underappreciated. The mobile service is really great. Like, you don't even have to drive anywhere; you just come to wherever the car is and fix everything for you.
Great. Yoda?
Yeah, the biggest difference for me, well, I guess two things. So one is Tesla service brings car service to the current century. Everything is done through the app versus calling, waiting, etc. But the second thing is, I think it's one and done. If I remember correctly, and it's been a while, servicing my car at BMW, Mercedes, Lexus is all about getting something done, and then they discover something else that needs to be done. And then you walk away with this giant bill because unexpected things happen, right? You go in for an oil change, and here comes something wrong with, the transmission or something. Whereas I think with Tesla, they just try to solve your problem as efficiently as reasonably as possible, and so that it's been great for me personally.
Very good. We have other hands as well, and we're getting some great replies to the space and in YouTube live chat as well. Let me read a couple of those. Rich Bira says, I had a very similar experience with Tesla service. I got a flat tire on the highway late at night. The moment you pull over, the car already knows I had a flat. The car shared the exact location into the app. The app already put me directly into the service section to get a tow truck to my location. And we have, let me just find this. Tesla Stan says 50% off parts if you have Tesla insurance. So if you have Tesla insurance, you get 50% off parts. He's used it before for collision repair, he says. On a negative note, Sebres says Tesla service here in Arizona is like 50-50. Appointments are 6 weeks out. Tesla energy service is absolute trash, he says. If he's in the space, please come up to his speaker board. I have a couple of questions for you, Sebres. Dallas, go ahead.
Yeah, my comment actually piggybacks off of that point. Great. The one time I actually had to go into the service center, Same thing. I looked online on the app. It said 6 weeks out. I just called him up and kind of told him what was going on. And the guy was so nice. Like, hey, if you want to stop by tomorrow afternoon, he's like, we could squeeze you in late afternoon. I would tell anyone to try that first before just immediately thinking you're never going to get in. Because if you talk to a person, likely they're going to be able to squeeze you in.
Very good. Sebrest, welcome. Man, this is great. Tesla Live, living up to its name. We get live feedback. Immediately, the person comes up after 2 seconds of me saying, if you could please come up. That's amazing. Sebrest, can you give us a bit more detail about what happened? And when was your experience that it was still 6 weeks out?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. So here in Arizona, to the extent of the construction and just highways in general, you're subject to flying rocks, particularly to the windshield. So I'm on my third windshield, Model 3, 2022. So, it just comes with the territory. But my most recent crack, it's about, give or take 4 or 5 inches. And you can't drive in Arizona with a giant crack. If they pull you over, it's probably a $250 fine. But yeah, at least to the extent of the app, yeah, it's great. But just of sheer volume. So it may not be in particular like whether they're capable. It's more of a capacity kind of a thing, just because it's Arizona and everyone drives like a maniac here. But yeah, that's kind of like my experience.
Okay, and sorry, can you repeat again? When was this experience? You got 6 week wait?
Oh yeah, it happened about 3 weeks ago. So
3 weeks, so pretty recent. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Sebrest from the speaker board? Dallas.
Yeah, have you checked if your state covers windshields? Because I know there's like 4 or 5 in the U.S. that the state offers you a one-time replacement per year on windshields.
Yeah, I wish it was like that in Arizona. No, at least to the extent of it, you get like one pass if they catch you with the crack, but apart from that, not really much.
Yeah, I feel like
Okay.
for something urgent like a windshield, they should be able to bump you up. I would maybe try and go to the service center and talk to someone and see if they can get you in sooner.
Okay, good. And we have a couple of comments from YouTube live chat as well. JORL3L says, get a B-Ray windshield PPF skin. My friend, you will never get a crack again. Costs $400 to install in Arizona. Arizona Tesla service is booked. They need more centers here. Okay. Habib.
And I've had windshield replacements in
Anecdotally
California.
speaking, I've also had some quote unquote bad experiences with Tesla. One time a deer hit my car last September. My hood and my front bumper were damaged on the Model S, and it took 9 months for them to get replacement parts. Now, the car was drivable and I was able to drive it, but they also explained, I guess they had a parts warehouse in Pennsylvania that Tesla was shutting down and moving its location, and there were some general shortages of parts still back then. But what I have noticed is that if I have a minor problem with the vehicle and it's drivable, sometimes I get appointments that are like 4 or 5 weeks out. But if I have a problem with the vehicle where it's potentially not drivable, I've messaged them and they get me in within a week, within a couple of days even. So I think someone said earlier to try to call the center. But I would definitely just shoot them a message on the app as well if you can't get in touch with them directly over the phone. See if they can
Thanks.
bump you up.
Very good, Habib. Earlier, could you hear Omar?
While I was speaking, no.
Okay. I'm going to move you down, bring you back up. Let's go to Rich Vieira.
Yeah, actually, I think what he just said was spot on. What I was going to add was that depending on, I've had service probably 3 times, twice for a flat tire and once on my new Model 3 right after I picked it up. There was some like marring on the paint, and it really is depending on what the level of severity is and how quickly you get in. but I just kind of wanted to add a note of how magical that experience was when, you get a flat tire, you're driving, 60, 70 miles an hour. I hit a pothole, it was right after winter. And you pull over, you think of what a person normally goes through in that scenario is like, you're trying to call a tow truck. You're saying, hey, I'm located here, mile marker X or Y or Z, cars are flying by you. And to have that like kind of all just kind of quickly come in. I remember taking a bunch of screenshots too, just thinking of just like how magical that was to try to get me off the highway as fast as possible, which is what it
Yeah.
did.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, take those screenshots, spread the word, bring it to Tesla Live, tell us about it, post it on other social media to your friends, save your friends. Screw friends, don't make their friends buy legacy auto cars, okay? Or they don't make like Habib. Habib, we are your true friend. We want you to buy another Tesla, like your fifth Tesla, rather than being smuggled in this. That's not the word. I'm gonna go fucking this up.
Omar,
Sorry, we have other hands. We have other hands. And we have people requesting to speak. But I want to point out, Ken says, looks like Wall Street got the Tesla earnings early, but Ken clearly did not check what's going on in the markets, because as I read that, I looked over, and the entire stock market is down 1 to 2%. Dow Jones down 1%, S&P 500 down 1.2%, Nasdaq down 2%, and Tesla down 2.5% or so. So Ken, please don't spread misinformation in my YouTube live chat. Nvidia down 4%, Apple down 3%, Amazon down 3%. So this is a macro decline going on right now. McDonald's down 5%, Qualcomm down 4%. Interesting. Doesn't seem to like any specific news or anything like that. Okay. Chris, and then David Katz.
Thank you. Mike. Does the flat tire service that Rich spoke of, does that depend on the tire and wheel protection plan? I got something from on my Tesla app regarding a tire and wheel protection plan just the other day. I'm just curious if that has any implication. Thanks.
Rich?
Yeah, so I don't have the tire and wheel protection plan. I could just tell you that the tow service was covered. And the only thing that I had to pay for, which was the replacement of the tire. It would be, it's actually better than anything else that you would have if you were on your own, because you would normally have to pay for the tow service, which is a flatbed tow service, like $150, but that was covered.
Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Okay, Omar, and then David Katz.
Yeah, so every Tesla has free roadside assistance. If you ever have an issue with your Tesla where you need some help, just go into the Tesla app, click roadside assistance. They're able to connect to your car. They'll send someone out to help you, even in the middle of the night. They'll send someone out to help you. So I've had issues with, windshields and flat tires, and here in California, even, windshield breaks, they're often able to just fix it next day and get it done. So that's, I think, kind of what the ideal experience should be around the country. Obviously, depending on where you are, some service centers probably don't have the benefit that we have here in California, where the parts are being made locally and can be, shipped really quickly. The warehouses are nearby, but they really need to figure out, I think, how to deliver that experience globally. And then, finally, the other point I'll make is the other thing they like to harp on is just the best service is no service. So going to a service center is always lame when you don't need oil changes, when you have less things that you need to maintain because EVs have less parts. That also helps you avoid the service center, which is another benefit as well.
Great. David Katz, and then I'm going to ask Dallas and Alexander to name one thing they learned in the last 40 minutes. David Katz.
Thanks. I've had mobile service, and those guys are great, and they'll even, spend time with you, answer other questions that weren't on the list. Never needed major service until 49,500 miles. I'm still 500 miles within warranty. I'm on the way to the casino. I got an error code, front motor disabled. I could see the code was similar to a friend's one. I lost my front inverter. When you lose the inverter on the front engine, it just disables the front engine. But said keep driving to the casino. We got a rear engine. So I drove there, parked the car, backed it in, fortunately, went in the casino, and my mind was still on the Tesla. So I came out after an hour, um, got the door open, immediate screen said, "You have 38 seconds. You better open some doors. You're going to lose your front battery, and open the front too." So I did that. Had a bunch of money on me and valuables in the car. So I called a friend. I'm an hour north of my home city. He came and grabbed my stuff. Other people in the parking lot wanted to open up my Tesla. Some engineers and electricians took some panels off. We could see the little battery. They tried to jump it for me. By the time my friend got everything ready for it to be towed, I just went in the app. The tow truck was there from 30 miles away within half an hour. The guy was young. He'd never towed a Tesla before, but he jumped my Tesla and we were able to get it into tow mode for him, pushed it out, got it on the truck. It went to a center north of Seattle. That's on a Saturday. On Monday, and immediately the manager, Tanya, was communicating with me. They needed to do some research and analysis to see what everything was wrong. I came out there the next day. They had a newer loaner, 1 year newer, with um, full FSD. It already had
Yeah.
no nag driving. And I talked to the tech who was an 8 year tech about my car. He came to
Yeah.
jump it so I could get in. They kept it for a week. They fixed it, took an extra few days, but I didn't care because I had a loaner. In the meantime, they gave me a free 1772 because I needed one. They gave me an extra. They'd done some work I didn't authorize, so I just agreed to pay 50% for it. And the car runs as if it was never damaged.
Thank you, Omar.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention once I got a flat tire while in my garage, and they sent roadside mobile service, and they can actually replace your tire for you, come to you and replace your tire just at your house or whatever. And they were actually able to repair the tire, patch it in the van, and give it back to me, and they charged me like $100. So the mobile service is definitely incredible when it's available to not have to even go to the service center at all.
We have some new speakers I want to get to. It's really great. We always welcome new speakers. I do appreciate people when they speak up, contribute to the space, and kind of pop their cherry coming to these space speakers. Let's go to TJ Carr and then accelerating.
Yeah, hey, I had a Model 3 last year, and I was coming down from Yellowstone to Salt Lake City. I think I was about an hour and a half from Salt Lake City, and I think at that point I'd done about 25,000 miles on the car, and I'd had no issues with it whatsoever. And it was in autopilot on the highway. I was doing like 65, 70, and the screen started. It was lagging by like a minute. So when I would turn the indicator on or something like that, go to change lanes, it would take a long time for it to come up. Uh, and then the screen, I couldn't activate autopilot. That would also lag. And then I couldn't see the actual speed I was going. So I didn't use autopilot. I drove to the service center and I asked the guys there, and I gave them my VIN number. They were like, "Oh yeah, cool. Your car has this issue. It's called FPS crawl. So the frame rates on the thing go way down. It's this because this was a car that had one of the chip shortages through the 2021, 2022. And they were like, yeah, cool. It doesn't happen very often, but this is what it is. It shouldn't happen again, but it's happened to other cars. We've seen the issue. We'll push a patch. Next day, patch came out, and I never had it again. So that was just a good positive that they're
Good.
able to fix.
Thank you, TJ. Alexander, accelerating tech.
Hey guys, so I found that there's 3 levels of service, and I think this will be really helpful for everyone. So there's the urgent service that you need right away. That would be your 12-volt battery goes out, you need roadside assistance for something, you can't drive the car. Basically, just initiate roadside assistance. That'll take care of anything affecting your car that day, preventing you from going to the service center. The second level is any urgent items, but that you can drive the car to the service center. So for example, your windshield is cracked and you're not supposed to drive it, or any other urgent item, you just bring the car into the service center. They will squeeze you in and or give you a loaner for the day or for the week, whatever it takes. So those are for the urgent items, but that you can bring the car in. The last would be the non-urgent items. You know, maybe they say it's going to be 2-3 weeks out. You just wait for your appointment and then they'll get to you. So I think Tesla, maybe they could communicate that better when you first do a request in the.
Well, we are communicating right here. Here we go. We're communicating right here. Listen, Elon Musk's. Okay. New speakers, please note when you're not talking, stay unmuted. Raise your hand when you come up. Don't hang out on the speaker board, and keep your story short, succinct, to the point. All right. Elon Musk's time is valuable. This is part of the reason why we have Tesla Life, or part of the benefit, let's say. It's not part of the reason. But part of the benefit is that we can spread these stories, communicate to thousands. We have thousands of listeners, daily listeners, tens of thousands of weekly listeners on X alone. And YouTube is also getting there. So total, we have tens of thousands of weekly listeners between the 2 platforms. They have friends, families, colleagues. They repeat their stories to others, what they learned here to others as well. And we have Omar here, who's got hundreds of thousands of followers. So we can spread this knowledge here without Elon having to allocate his time to this stuff so that he can focus on Optimus or other things, you know? Dallas, what did you learn in the last 40 minutes?
Yeah, I learned if you have Tesla insurance, parts are half off. I mean, I don't currently have Tesla insurance.
No, just
but
let's keep this is a summary for the benefit of the audience. So 1, you learn 50% off of parts if you have Tesla insurance. 2,
yeah, I learned that there's tier systems to the repair side of the service centers.
so if you have an urgent issue, communicate that to the service center employee, and they will try to fit you in if possible. Okay. 3.
Yeah, I say my third one would be that all Teslas come with free roadside roadside assistance. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Alexander, what did you learn?
That Americans are really bad drivers, and you're lucky that you're in a Tesla, not any other car, because that would be even worse.
Okay. All right. What about anything material for long-term investors that are listening?
That Tesla service is getting better, and that's obviously good.
Good. And we learned Cybertruck has some advantages around repairability, as Omar noted. The cost to repair his Cybertruck was lower and cost to repair his Model S. Okay. What else?
Agree.
Anybody who want to chime in with a summary point? We're going to have these summary segments for the benefit of the audience and for everybody else on the speaker board as well before we switch topics. We're going to switch topics to other news in the automotive industry. We're going to talk about Rivian, Zeekr, Waymo, Chevy, GM, Qualcomm partnering with Google. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Trump comments on solar and we're going to talk about Apple Vision Pro. We have a lot to talk about, and you get Cortex. Oh my goodness. Okay, we gotta get a move on this. Before that, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. In the meantime, please take a moment to go up to the YouTube channel through the link at the top of your screens and hit that like button, support the space, help us grow so that we can bring you. Yesterday's conversation on wireless charging with the founder and CEO of a leading company was very informative. Lots of good positive feedback from the audience on X as well as YouTube. And we want to have more of those. We can have more of those if this space grows, only if this space grows. So help us get there by hitting the like button, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing these videos with everybody you can. Tesla Live is sponsored by Joa, your go-to source for premium Tesla accessories. Are you looking to elevate your Tesla driving experience? Look no further than Joa. They offer a wide range of high-quality accessories designed specifically for Tesla owners, not Taycan owners, because Taycan owners do not demand the best. They settle for the second best. Not even, they settle for the worst. But if you're a Tesla owner, you demand the best. And that's why you should use Joa. Use promo code TSLA Live at checkout to receive a special discount on your next purchase. And Tesla Live is proudly sponsored by Paymore, your trusted destination for buying, selling, trading, recycling electronics. At Paymore, you can buy the latest gadgets at great prices, sell or trade your used electronics for cash or store credit, recycle old or broken devices responsibly, helping reduce electronic waste. Join the Paymore revolution today. Visit one of their stores near you or check them out online. It's paymore.com. They also have a Twitter account, X account, that we want to grow a little bit. So if you get a chance, follow them. They're trying to get to 100 followers as part of this sponsorship. Okay.
Joa just sent me a box of free stuff. I haven't opened it yet.
Really? That's cool. That's
Yeah,
great.
should I open it?
Yeah, open it. Let us know what it is.
All right, let's see. It's like Christmas.
I think Joa doesn't have any Taycan stuff, right? It's just Tesla.
Just Tesla.
Only
You know,
Tesla.
I think the team behind it had a background in like Apple accessories or something. And then they saw Tesla and they're like, this is gonna be a thing. We should get in for this.
All right. While Omar opens up the box and lets us know what it is, I'm going to read a couple of items on the automotive industry. Okay. Chevy is coming out with their $35,000 Equinox EV. GM's Chevy is coming out with a $35,000 Equinox EV, 319-mile range, 85 kilowatt hour battery, and it qualifies for the $7,500 EV tax credit. Okay, so this vehicle used to be much more expensive. They sold tens of thousands of units of them. So I'm going to keep an eye on the $35,000 Chevy Equinox EV sales numbers going forward. Seems to be a pretty good option. So we're going to keep an eye on this. If I had to guess, obviously they're not going to announce this, but if I had to guess, this is not a profitable vehicle for them. So I wouldn't be surprised a few months down the line they start blaming production ramp issues. Zeekr unveiled a vehicle called Mix, working with Waymo for robotaxis. So Waymo robotaxis will be based on Zeekr vehicle named Mix. One thing to take away from here is that Waymo is working with a number of automakers, Zeekr, Hyundai, and probably others down the line for hardware side of their autonomous vehicle business. And Rivian racked up most OSHA violations, racked up most factory safety violations in the industry. Congratulations, Rivian. All right, Omar, what's the Joa box you got?
Sorry, I was just posting a picture to my feed. I got the Joa foldable storage boxes. So apparently it's a foldable storage box. You can fold it, you can put stuff in it. It's designed to fit right in your Tesla. I can't wait to try it out.
All right, there we go. We have a lot to talk about. Let's move on. Any comments on the Chevy $35,000 Equinox EV or Zeekr unveiling a Waymo Robotaxi hardware or Rivian racking up most violations in the industry for factory safety?
Listen, if they paid me $35,000 to drive a GM EV, I would say no. For me to pay them, good luck with that proposition. To give up FSD. So this will probably sell just as well as GM's other EVs. Actually, it is better than GM's other EVs. It's a step in the right direction. It's better than the Chevy Bolt. But it's probably not going to be a very high volume vehicle. I mean, this is GM we're talking about. In terms of Rivian, it's okay. I don't think it matters. RJ Scaringe is our liberal darling. So whether he makes money or injures people, it's, fine. As long as he's voting for Kamala, that's all that matters.
All right. Okay, I don't want to dance on their grave, but Reagan is going down. I can't believe this company's still worth $10 billion. Kind of crazy. Down 4%, $10 per share, $10 billion market cap. Any comments on Apple? Actually, let's go to Luce. Luce?
So if Waymo can make a robotaxi in collaboration with a Chinese company and import it on US soil, then why should it be a problem if Tesla operates robotaxi in China? Seems very equal to me.
Omar?
I mean, I don't see the relation between those two things. The Chinese government has indicated that Tesla should be able to operate a service or at least launch FSD supervised in the country. I think generally this is going to be a market where if they can show that the data is being kept in China, it's secure, then their vehicles can operate there as well. In terms of Google importing a vehicle, they're just buying the cars, right? So, hey, we'd like to buy your car. It's not illegal to buy a Chinese car. There are tariffs on them. There's 100% tariff recently introduced by Joe Biden. So Waymo was really hoping to reduce their cost by moving to these Zeekr vehicles. And they were like, okay, this is going to be great. This is going to be a huge cost reduction. They're going to configure the vehicles without steering wheels or pedals like the Cybercab. So this is a big leap forward for them. And they've also reconfigured the sensor suite a little bit, changed the placement of some of the sensors for this new vehicle. Unfortunately, the 100% tariff reduces the amount of cost reduction they're going to see because now the vehicle's twice what they thought it was going to be. So they may be looking to qualify additional suppliers as well, such as, for example, Hyundai as a Korean company. They're not subject to those tariffs. Or you could maybe have Zeekr try and set up a production facility in the United States or in Mexico, and that could also circumvent the tariffs. Or you could try and convince the president to drop the tariff. But yeah, I think Waymo seems to be looking at an approach where they can qualify multiple vehicles. They have had this issue where they have the Jaguar I-Pace on the roads, but Jaguar is not going to be making these anymore. They're getting out of making cars entirely. It's kind of weird. I think they're owned by Tata now. So I think Waymo wants to avoid that in the future, and that's why they're looking at Zeekr, but also now looking at additional suppliers, especially with these tariffs. It's very complicated when you have to have all these additional vehicles, and it's not just like the software can just run on a different vehicle with a different sensor suite. When you don't have access to large amounts of Jaguar I-Paces, that is a limitation on how your service can expand. So long story short, getting these new vehicles up and running on US roads are going to be key to expanding faster for Waymo and at a lower cost.
Great. Richie, are you ready to do your part?
What do you mean?
Well, I think you should promote the space, get people to like.
Yeah. I
Go ahead.
talked about it. So I think Tesla Live offers a unique mix between like an informative. It's informative at the same time. It's entertaining. So it's very difficult to find a similar program. And you also get very different views. For example, you get the views from the 1 million follower Twitter expert to the psycho Tesla shareholder. So it's a unique program which you should follow.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very genuine. Habib loved it. Uzi.
Your boy's back. He's buying the dip. I'd also buy Tesla Live if it were a stock. Maybe we should make a meme coin. There is no other space that operates on a daily basis that also gives extra content at night where you have some pretty qualified people, unlike me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Tesla Live is not going to go public. Tesla Live isn't going to go public. We don't need to raise capital at this time, or that kind of capital. We're raising billions of dollars, and I don't think we ever will, actually. So we're getting close to positive contribution margin. When we get to 10,000 subscribers, which I think we'll get to by year end, on YouTube, will be positive contribution margin. At that point, you don't need to raise any more capital. That's great. Dallas.
Yeah, along the lines of Uzi's point, I mean, finding a space that is willing to do a daily anything, Tesla or not, I mean, that's a gold mine of information right there. The
Yeah.
consistency, there is no day missed. So keep
All right.
coming back, listening, and subscribe.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on. We have a lot to talk about. We got to spread out these call to actions. Thank you, Dallas, Luce, Uzi, for sporting Tesla Live. Okay. Omar, Apple is rumored to end Apple Vision Pro production by year end. That's kind of wild, isn't it? Do you think they're giving up on this product at this time? This is according to the information. Do you think they're giving up to, or do you think they're going to replace it with something else early next year?
Yeah, when you have a company as big as Apple, there's always a lot of supply chain leaks. There's so many partners, so many parts that things often leak out in terms of what they're doing. So when they say that they may be stopping production, these kinds of things can get out. It may be credible, it may not be, but they probably have enough Vision Pros, right? Like they've probably made enough at this point, and nobody's buying them that they're like, okay, we're probably good on this until the next version. Like we've got these things piling up at the Apple stores, and people are returning them. They're not really uh there's not really an issue where we need to produce more of them, right? So I'm sure they're going to follow it up with another version or something at some point in the future. They probably have inventory to continue to sell through to the end of life for this product, and it's a really interesting product. I love mine actually. I don't really use it that much, but it's really interesting technology showcase where you have this entirely computer vision based OS. You just move things with your hands, you speak. So it's a good kind of concept for the future, but of course it's really clunky, it's really expensive. It's a big fat flop in the market. And you look at a product like the Meta Ray-Bans, where Meta just, they're not trying to do like a full VR experience, but you can just record some video. It looks like a normal pair of sunglasses. It costs a few $100s. You can talk to it with AI, ask it to ask the LLM to answer questions about what you're seeing. That I think is a much more something that can be a success in the market today. So really what we see in the Vision Pro is Apple's continued strong technology foundations, but leadership that doesn't know how to mold that into a product that can sell well with consumers and catch on in the market. Their car flopped. Their Vision Pro flopped. I think that Tim Cook's succession plan should be to sell the company to Tesla and Elon. I think they
Yeah.
would know what to do with this.
Yeah, I don't think Elon would buy the company, but I think what they can do instead is use their cash to buy Tesla stock. All right. So that covers Apple. Any other comments on Apple from the speaker board? Uzi?
I agree with Omar. I don't believe that they're going to entirely discontinue this product. They would cede sort of the meta vision where Zuckerberg's thinking the future of the telephone will be like those AR glasses. So I do think there will be a Vision Light or something like that at a cheaper cost for consumers. But I would be genuinely shocked if they quit and they decided just to stick with their bread and butter and not develop a new revenue stream.
I mean, I got to give it to them. Like, I still haven't found anything better than these Pro AirPod Pros. Like they do actually produce some quality product. And I tested a lot, like a dozen mics and speaker combinations, dozens of them, and nothing beats AirPods Pro, which is amazing. It's also the cheapest among everything I tested. Okay. Important company for the world. I hope that they can speed up their innovation a bit more. All right. Let's go to Tesla. Giga Cortex cooling fans have been turned on. Omar, do you think this means Giga Cortex is starting to come alive?
It's certainly a sign that we're headed in that direction, right? You don't typically want to run the cooling fans unless, well, first of all, we had heard that these were still needing to be installed, a lot of the cooling infrastructure. So it's a good sign that we're seeing some progress there. But, if they're running, then you generally don't want to run them unless the computers are actually running and generating heat. So this is perhaps one of the most material events for Tesla when they turn on this 100,000 GPU cluster. We're at about, I think, 37,000 H100 equivalents on the other cluster in California. So when they turn this thing on, it's going to be another step forward in FSD performance in how human-like your car is driving. And it'd be really exciting if they shared some news with us on that tonight.
Exactly. I hope to hear an update on Giga Cortex as well as FSD on tonight's call. I think that would be awesome. And I think Optimus is still, a few years out. I think they did a good job demonstrating that on 1010, but we're going to hear more about FSD, maybe FSD 13, what it's going to include. That would be pretty cool to hear. And do you think we're going to hear anything about the new and affordable models, more affordable models tonight?
Man, that would be amazing. Just okay, here it is. We're just unveiling it with this earnings call. But I mean, that might be getting a little overexcited. That's probably not going to happen, but it would be amazing. I mean, you're telling us you're going to start producing these things in the first quarter or the second quarter. It's the fourth quarter. What is this? Are you going to tell us? They got to tell us at some point, right? Or is it just going to go on sale like, hey, go order it. It's in stock at your local delivery center already, huh? So, yeah, why not unveil it? Or, at least give us a couple hints, Elon. Come on here. We promise we won't talk about it too much. We'll keep it quiet, but just give us a couple hints. What is this new, more affordable model?
Alexander.
Yeah, how great wouldn't that be? Like, delivery start now.
Nah, it's not gonna. I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you think the probability of that is?
0, but it would be great for once.
I mean, before that stuff happens, we start seeing some shots. I mean, I guess we've seen a couple of pictures, right? We'd hear about permits. There would be some rumblings and rumors. I doubt it. They're going to say that tonight. I think
Yeah,
that's more of a 2025 story. It's going to start in China first in the first half, and then the second half maybe it'll come to US if everything goes according to plan.
it's really hard to keep something like that a secret. Like, Elon had a tweet yesterday. He said Tesla's moving like 4 trillion tons of mass or something like that. I mean, that's not what he said, the exact number, but it was a large number. And when you are moving that much mass through the earth, taking it out of the earth, making parts, moving parts, ordering parts for millions of cars, it is hard to keep it a secret. So I'm not sure, clearly it's not ready quite yet, but maybe if they're leveraging some of the existing 3 and Y supply chain, they were able to keep it quieter.
Okay, great. Uzi?
Yeah, I want to introduce the Osborne effect. Basically, if people know that a new car or a new product is coming out, then they'll stop buying the current one. So I think that's why they're towing the line. Yaman made a great point about China. I heard that this year Tesla hasn't expanded into new markets, and if you have a 25K compact, that's what might make it much easier to expand to. New markets and then compete against the BYDs, which are quite cheap.
All right. Today, this is the best time to buy a Tesla, guys. 0% APR, up to $4,000 discounts, with the 10-year yield, treasury yields are going back up. That's probably why, by the way. I don't know if anyone did, but I didn't see a specific reason why stock markets are plunging overall. I thought maybe earlier Eli had to drop off because of air raids happening in his area in Israel. And we wish him the best. I hope that he's safe. He had to drop off from the speaker board and go to shelter. He let us know in the replies. And I thought maybe that's why the markets are dropping, but I don't think so. Oil is still low at $7 per barrel. Yields have been going up lately. 10-year treasury yield is up to 4.25% right now. 30 years above 4.5%. And I think this could be spooking investors a little bit. As you all know, yields act as gravity on all asset prices, not just stock market, but also obviously they have an inverse relation with bond prices and also real estate and other asset classes as well. So the higher the yields go, especially the mid to longer end of the curve, the lower, all else equal, asset prices will be, including stocks. So I'm guessing that's what it is. But yeah. I was wondering actually in the last week or so how yields have been going up and stocks have held up, but maybe this is a delayed reaction happening right now. All right, we're going to talk in a little bit about potential reactions to the earnings, what we want to hear, what we expect to hear in today's earnings call, and what we think is going to happen to the stock afterwards in the coming days. So we're going to have a bit of a short-term discussion in the remaining part of the space. Let's go to Uzi first. Uzi?
Yeah, I wanted to add on, Druckenmiller's bet against the 10-year as well to what you were saying. I think you might be right.
What's the bet that he said?
I think he's shorting the 10-year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't make a prediction about where the 10-year is going to be, but I'm just pointing out that it's been going up lately. It went up about 50 basis points in the last couple of weeks, ever since the Fed cut rates by 50 basis points. Unusually, the longer end of the yield curve went up quite a bit. So that's going to pressure stocks.
Hey guys, it's Adam. I have a quick question. Do you think that all these discounts on Teslas now are a preemptive move to clear the inventory before the end of the year because they're going to announce either lower cost Model 3 or Y or something?
Omar?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, they need to sell a lot of cars, right? So they just need to offer these incentives. They need to clear the inventory. part of the reason they're not selling more is that a lot of people are waiting because they know there are some new things coming. So if you do want, for example, one of the Model 3s or Model Ys or a Cybertruck, they're giving all kinds of really good deals right now. But a lot of people obviously are waiting for the updates to the Model Y, more affordable models that might be coming. People know about these things. So they have to incentivize people to sell the cars and post a record quarter this quarter. Their competitors are offering even crazier deals and even lower prices than Tesla is.
Adam, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, great. So Adam says, if you're enjoying this discussion, he would really appreciate it if you could take a moment to support Tesla Live. Adam says, please head over to YouTube live stream. Right, Adam?
100%. I love this show.
Thank you. He says, by clicking the link at the top of our screens and hit that like button, your engagement not only helps us reach more people, but also keeps the conversations going strong. Only takes a second and it makes a huge difference. I mean, it's such a difference that like 1-to-1 ratio between number of likes and concurrent viewers. So let's take 30 seconds to make that happen. We are at 150. Let's see if we can get to 200 plus by the end of these 30 seconds. Alexander is going to count down in Swedish. Go ahead, Alexander.
30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, we just got to 160. We got to get to 200. This show will continue once we get to 200. So I'm muting everybody. We're going to be back when the number of likes is 200 plus. All right. Let's keep going. Habib.
Hey, I got a question if Omar's still here.
Omar's here.
I was just curious when they're doing software. This is a question about when they do software releases. When they do software releases, generally, like for a company like the size of Tesla, how long are they doing? Would you guesstimate that they do internal testing before they do wide releases?
Until it's ready.
And yeah, so like,
At
how long is that
least
roughly?
2 to 4 weeks, depending on what kind of update it is. At least.
So, for instance, in the Cybertruck, what do you think is the reason we don't have like the video games in the back seat right now? What do you think is going on with that?
Um, I think they're probably going to do it eventually. It's probably just low on the priority list. I don't think it's necessarily due to any technical challenge or anything. They probably just haven't gotten to it. When you have a new vehicle architecture like the Cybertruck, some things are different. They need to redo some things, but they have it in the other vehicles. I think they're going to bring it to the Cybertruck too. Maybe they just forgot about it. To be honest, I forgot about it. I am not sitting back there usually, so.
No, I get reminded by my offspring almost on a daily basis because they really like it in the other car.
Yeah, maybe just tweet at Wes and tweet at Elon and say like, "Hey, we got the games in the other cars, not in the Cybertruck." They probably just forgot or something, I bet, and they could put some intern on it and have them enable that for the Cybertruck.
Yeah, because I would love to go and buy more Joa accessories like the wireless charging remote controls, who is a sponsor of this space. If we had games
Oh
in the back
yeah,
of the
I
Cybertruck.
love those controllers. You can just pop them on the wireless charging pad. Boom, they're good to go.
All right, Hollis, go ahead. Hollis is a great supporter of the space. She's always sending out super chats every day. That's cool. Okay, she just messaged me and she says she's only here to promote the space. Thank you, Hollis. All right, let's go to Spiros. Spiros?
Question for you. Sorry, I missed a couple of weeks because I was away. So I don't know if you answered that. But when you asked Elon the question at Pennsylvania, I think it was, do you think he recognized your voice or do you think he listens to the space?
I don't know. All right, moving on. Let's go to I hope some Tesla employees at least are listening to the space. Like we want to increase the quality so that they want to be in the space. You know what I mean? And I think some of our speakers are improving really fast. Like I said, our speakers get daily feedback on their performance. Very detailed and critical feedback. So I think that's leading to a fast pace of improvement. So maybe in the future, Tesla will hire some of the speakers. I think that would be amazing, and that would put pressure on me to develop more speakers. So I think that'd be awesome. Like, wouldn't you want new employees at Tesla to have a really good general understanding of the company, purpose, goal, limitations, start the company's employment that way after maybe like a year of speaking in the space? I think that'd be amazing. Yoda?
Before I ask my question, are we being graded? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, you're being graded. But
All right.
usually people who speak the most, like usually I send feedback to like top 5 speakers in that episode.
Okay,
So
okay, that's
Matthew,
good.
for example, received some feedback yesterday after yesterday's episode, and he scored really high. He scored A, and he got his list of strengths, areas of improvement, according to ChatGPT, who listens to the space in a way, because I just sent the transcript, and then have great speakers. And it does a pretty good. It's not perfect, and I don't send it to a speaker if I don't agree with the feedback. But yeah, I think
All
so.
right.
I think all space should do this.
Can I put out a drone flyby request?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's a Taiwanese supplier called Hota Industry Manufacturing, and I think back in late 2023, they signed an agreement to buy a 30-acre parcel in Santa Teresa, New Mexico, specifically the West Park Industrial Park. And construction began last year in 2020, or I guess earlier this year in 2024. But their plan is to scale into mass production early next year, Q1, Q2. So I was wondering if there's anyone that's out there in New Mexico, Santa Teresa, can do a drone shot of West Park Industrial Park. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll ask our federal DEA agents to allocate some resources for that.
All right, thank you, Yoda. Yoda, would you like to say thank you to your sponsors before today's earnings?
Yeah. Well, thank you to my sponsors for helping long-term investors like myself create generational wealth. Today, my sponsor has generously given us a 2% discount if you use the code TSLA on your favorite platform.
Yeah, short sellers, thank you for sponsoring Tesla Yoda's Tesla share purchases. Tesla stock is down 2%. It's actually a pretty good performance compared to what's happening across the stock market right now. Nasdaq is down 2%. Usually Tesla stock has a 2 beta, so you would expect a 4%. I think people are really anticipating. Let's switch. Let's switch our gears to next few hours here. We have the earnings call coming up. Earnings release, earnings call. Let's start with Uzi. Uzi, what do you want to learn? Say one thing you want to learn in today's earnings call. If you could ask a question to Elon, what would it be about? And what would the question be? And then also tomorrow and next couple of days, let's say, how do you expect the stock price to react?
Well, on the eve of our conversation yesterday, I feel like we covered a lot of the good ones. But being put on the spot makes you blank out. So, you know, I really care about the 25K car. I don't think he'll give us information on that. So, that's kind of a miss. And I want to know about margins, but that's something he won't say either. So for the most part, I don't think I'm helpful here.
Okay. Uzi is referring to a conversation that we had with about a handful of speakers on YouTube. It was simultaneously live casted on YouTube and X. We went over say.com questions, and Tesla in earnings calls can only answer about 4 or 5 of them, but we have the time to go and we can be very efficient about these things. So we answered about a few dozen. Omar, thank you very much for doing bulk of the work there. And you can go to the YouTube channel and watch last night's conversation with speakers answering dozens and dozens, probably about 50 say.com questions. It was a really interesting experience. There are more than 3,000 questions submitted now to Teslas. 3,000 questions. And I think what's going to happen over time is as Tesla Live grows and tens of thousands of people, maybe more than 100,000 people every week get exposed to the discussion, high quality discussions in here, I think the quality of questions will also improve in future quarters. So I think a good way to measure Tesla Live success is to look at the quality of the questions being asked on say.com for quarterly earnings. Yoda?
Yeah, in fact, I think either Omar or someone on this space can probably use the new XAI API to essentially develop a chatbot trained on historical transcripts, real-time posts on X from Elon and hundreds of thousands of others to basically provide a response to every say.com question. I think the output will be uh, pretty directionally correct, actually.
Yeah. I mean, what I noticed is that among those 3,000 questions, it's like the same 10 questions being asked in various words and forms. So, like, we answered the same question about Tesla insurance 3 times, or we came across, we answered it once. Adam. Adam?
So sorry, I got one more question. Not sure if you guys already talked about any kind of FSD licensing, but what's the probability of, obviously Elon's not going to talk about products, but I think that, this is the time, if someone wants to partner, this is the time to announce it. And then Stellantis, I think CEO was at the Robotaxi event. So like, I have a gut feel that there's going to be some huge announcement of like Stellantis who's suffering and needs to
No.
figure stuff
No.
out. No?
Okay. Thank you, Adam. First of all, that wasn't the CEO. I think that was the president of Stellantis, a different position.
Someone on the board, I think.
Yeah, something on the board. And Stellantis doesn't even have an EV that they sell. Like, how are they going to install FSD? You think Elon's going to license FSD to Ram trucks? That's not going to happen. Omar, do you think, I mean, when FSD licensing question comes up often, do you want to say a couple of words on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if they announce something, honestly. I think really once they have driverless cars on the road, then maybe the licensing discussions get more serious. But most of the automakers, they're still trying to roll their own solution. They're still trying to push their own features. Ford's doing their own features, Rivian's doing their autonomy plus. They don't want to give up just yet. They still are hoping they have a shot at this. So I would be surprised to see something. I think it's going to take a while, kind of like with NACS, before they just say, okay, we give up. Let's just go with Tesla standard.
Yeah. Alexander is in the replies and says, what hit me when he was counting down from 30 in Swedish was that he could have just went with random Swedish words and Yaman wouldn't know. That's dangerous.
Correct.
So we're going to need Machine from now on, who speaks a bit of a Swedish. There he is. Machine, you're going to keep Alexander honest as he's counting down from 30 from now on.
I'm totally missed it. He's counting down.
Yeah, he says he could have said anything and I wouldn't know, which is true. But you speak Swedish, right?
Well, no one understands Swedish. It's basically gibberish. If you've ever seen the Muppets and the Swedish chef, hurdy hurdy here, bork bork bork, that's exactly what they actually sound like.
All right. Well, welcome to the speaker boards. Did you bring an answer with you?
I don't have an answer to my innate ability to read people's minds. I can't answer that to you because it's innate. It's intuition.
Yeah, okay.
I certainly did not focus on trying to track you down and what you do. I have better things to do with my life, including my wife.
BS. Okay,
Yeah.
more BS. Okay, what do you expect from
exactly.
today's earnings call?
I expect pain. Very, very painful time coming up for Tesla. We have the charlatan CEO lying to your face and you taking it. I mean, you basically bent over, got out the Vaseline and took it and like, yay, I got engagement. Good for you. And today what we're going to see is a normal earnings report. It's going to be very standard. Flat earnings. Musk kind of hem and hawing about moving the fork in the road to autonomy. And analysts asking questions about products, new products, growth, and him just kind of discounting and be like, listen, it's all about autonomy. That's what we're focused on. Yet without any clear plan for when that will be, when revenues and profits will come from that. And the market will sell off because they realize in the next year or two, there is no clear path for significantly increased profits. And that I'm not saying that won't happen. I'm just saying it won't be clarified in the earnings call. And that will create a sell-off.
What would you ask if you were on the call? Let me put you in the shoes of somebody who's asking questions. So you go to this event, you're really excited to see Elon on the stage. There's a lot of people waiting in line. There's cops around, private security, and people are kind of shouldering each other in the audience. Okay. And then Elon mentions the word questions, and all of a sudden you get this rush of dozens of people literally racing to a spot marked by a white X on the floor where the mic is going to be. Then you're like the freaking 15th person in line. You're like, you don't know if you're going to get a chance because there's like 15 people. How the hell did they get to the mic before you, even though you were literally pushed and standing next to it? And they get in front of you. And then all of a sudden, the line starts moving and he's still answering questions. So you know now you're going to get to it. and your heart rate is increasing as you get closer and closer and closer. And there's a spotlight, right? As you step into the box to the mic, the spotlight is right in your eye. You can barely see Elon, but you do see this camera turning towards you, and a red light appears right in front of you. You're on camera. Millions of people are watching you. What's coming out of their mouth?
Well, first of all, I definitely commend you on your calmness asking the question. I think you presented yourself well, especially because you chose to wear a hat. So that was a smart decision. But I mean, you asked the question well. There's nothing wrong with your question. You're very calm. So trust me, I was not criticizing you. I have many other reasons I could
I don't
criticize you.
care. I couldn't care less about your opinion of my
Yeah.
appearance. So what question are you asking?
I'd have to think about this. What I think would be the best question to ask him, and actually in a way that would get him to have to answer it. I would not ask anything about autonomy, simply because he will just speculate it to death. I think I would ask something core to the growth of the automotive business, which would be battery related. And I would try to ask something targeted about expectations of 4680 ramp, and ask it in a way that would make him answer it in a specific way. And that would be the goal. I'm not saying I would actually be able to do that
Now,
well.
here's the thing. Okay, so you would ask a question on 4680 on the earnings call that's coming up. I think that's a good question. But you can't really ask that in the rally, right? I mean, nobody's going to know what you mean by 4680. And as he mentioned, he actually cut someone off and said, the question should be about topics that people want to hear about. So what would you have asked in the rally?
I think I would ask him, and I have to think about how I would say this, but I would get to the point of trying to understand his claims of speaking the truth, but at the same, and not exaggerating things and not wanting other people to, spew lies, and then literally tweet things and state things such as Kamala Harris is a communist, which is not correct. And I would try to ask that way, not as a gotcha, not because I support Kamala Harris, but just the idea of him stoking the flames through exaggerations, and how he thinks he's better and his platform is better than what other people are doing when they're misguiding and stretching the truth.
Okay, I'm going to go to Omar in a second. But just to clarify, I want to ask about Tesla. I want to mention Tesla. I want to ask a question about Tesla. There really isn't that many questions you can ask tying together Tesla into a Trump rally. Anyway, Omar, what would you say to Machine?
One time I was in a space with Ross Gerber, and Ross Gerber was railing against Tesla and why aren't they advertising and blah, blah, blah. And then Elon comes in the space. Suddenly, Ross does a complete 180. Oh, Elon, thank you. Oh, you're so amazing. That's what would happen if Machine ever got a chance to talk to Elon. He would go, oh, Elon, I love you. Oh, can I suck your dick? And he acts all tough on this space, but it's easy on the internet. I think
we saw that happen. We saw that happen when he got into your car about FSD. He was like talking tough, and then he gets into the car, is like all amazed and giggly about FSD.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Ridiculous. First of all, I would not tell Elon he's amazing. That definitely wouldn't happen. Would I ask
So
him if
you
I
would
could
tell
suck his dick?
him that
I don't know, maybe.
Man. Earnings release preview.
This is insulting,
party.
Omar. I am exactly how I am in real life as I am in this space. Okay. I just said I was, I am excited. People they focus on what I say that is negative to them, that negative feeling. That's what they focus on and remember about me. It's not that I don't say positive things, but when you're in FSD, just enjoying the ride, it's a positive experience. I mean, aside from the fact that I had to sit next to you for an hour, which is essentially like going into Guantanamo Bay. Other than that, it was a very, pleasurable experience.
Good. Omar, we have a question from Drew Soul. I'm going to give a chance to Bull 2035 to speak in a second, but Drew Soul asks, will Elon speak about the election? Oh boy. If so, how will
No.
the stock perform during the after
This
hours?
isn't the appropriate venue to speak about the election, so I don't think he's going to do that. But
Oh boy.
that doesn't mean. I mean, this is Elon we're talking about. If he wants to, he will, but probably not. We haven't heard it on other earnings calls.
All right, Bull 2035.
Yeah, I think the most important question for Machine to ask, and it would be coming from the heart to Elon, is whether Elon is his father.
I don't. You know, I know my biological father because I talk to him and I look like him. So I'm pretty sure on that. Elon's too young to be my dad. We do have some similarities. But this guy is totally reckless. And I'm not reckless anymore. I've stopped being reckless. This guy's getting worse. I'm getting better. And I think that's how we differ. He's getting fat. I'm highly in shape. We're way different that way. He's more like Yaman, receding hair.
Wait, who's getting fat? You're not getting fat. You
Elon's
looked really young and healthy on stage. In the recent weeks, he's
Drug
looked the best as
induced,
ever has.
drug induced doping that he's doing, injecting himself in the ass.
Okay, this is you're not going to misinformation. I'm gonna get the points deducted by ChatGPT because allowing you to speak so long with misinformation. Uzi, did you have something to say?
No, very briefly. I mean, I've only seen one CEO get political. Alex Karp was talking about, I guess, the pagan religion on college campuses, but other than that, have not seen anyone else with that level of audacity.
Good, Omar.
If what Elon is doing works, then he's going to have a central role in federal policy of the most powerful nation on earth. And is he is he lying? Is he exaggerating? Well, newsflash: 90% of what is said in politics is BS. Okay,
Yeah.
90%. So you can make fun of him, you can laugh at him, you can say he's exaggerating. When he puts himself in charge of a multi-trillion-dollar budget, and you're here on X saying, I don't like what he's saying. I mean, you just kind of have to. There's a little bit of sort of a realpolitik angle there, I think.
Exactly. You got to remind yourself sometimes with these things. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Well, that's
he's
fair.
he's doing a really good job at playing the game here, and you were seeing in the results. If you look at Pennsylvania, which is the key state, Trump is now ahead of Harris for the first time, I think. Machine.
So first of all, I agree. I think I'm more agitated by the playing the game. If you're going to say can't trust the media, can't trust these other sources, but then at the same time spew stuff that's also incorrect, like that is hypocritical, and I also find it problematic because I would like to have a truthful, source. I agree with actually what he'd want to do with the government. So he wants to go do zero-based budgeting and reconstruct the government. Like I'm all for that. In fact, I, as a prestigious Ivy League graduate with perfect math, SAT scores, and GRE scores, think I might be the type of person he would want to hire to help him in that effort. So Elon, if you're listening, I
Oh
can
my
help you
God.
with your efficiency.
You sound like half the people who asked the question at that rally. There was one guy who read his test scores. You sound like him.
Elon, I have a plan. We can work together and fix everything.
Exactly.
I could cut
Okay,
the fat of government and cut his fat.
You can't cut your own fat. Okay, let's quick comments on Trump, Omar. Trump made some comments around solar panels, solar panel fields. Any thoughts on that?
I didn't hear those comments.
Rohan Patel is out there still lobbying to get people to vote for Harris instead of Trump.
Look, I mean, Trump has no core beliefs. Okay, he will just do whatever. He doesn't have an ideology. His ideology is just Trump. So, I mean, this is the democratic system. In order to be put in charge of the government, you have to get all the idiots to vote for you. Okay. And that's really what it is, right? It's not, well, the fiscal deficit is expanding at a rate with the yield curve expanding. It's those goddamn Mexicans took my gerb. That's the level you're really operating at to get elected. So I'll judge it on if it works. If it works, then wow. If it doesn't, then okay, good effort. But I mean, Joe Biden made a fatal miscalculation early on in his presidency. He said, I'm going to give Elon Musk the middle finger. He's a billionaire. Billionaires aren't popular. He's not union. I'm a union guy. And what's he going to do? His whole customer base is Democrats. He can't say anything against me. He voted for me. But screw him. I'm going to support Legacy Auto and the unions. And Elon said, Elon learned from a young age, when someone punches you, punch back harder. They won't punch you again. He determined at that moment that he was going to get the Democrats kicked out of the White House. Hell, he already succeeded in playing part in the pressure to get Joe Biden out. Now they've run Kamala Harris. He didn't want to support Trump initially. If you remember, he said Trump's too old. We need a different candidate. He tried to get Vivek. He tried to get, what's his name, the Florida governor, all those Republicans. Nobody liked them. The Republicans elected Trump for whatever reason in their primary process. And then he said, well, okay, if it's Trump, Kamala, those are the two choices. I'm throwing my weight fully behind Trump. We're going to get people to try and elect him, throw the other guys out. Now, regardless of what happens, whether Trump gets elected and then he has his doggy department or whatever, or whether Kamala gets elected, when you have come out and shown yourself to be such a force politically, giving away $1 million every day, focusing on the battleground states, registering people to vote. This is not a guy you want against you because he wasn't involved in politics. He was kind of getting pushed around. Whether we have Democrats or Republicans in the White House, I think they're going to think twice before messing with him or any of his companies again. And that's really why you punch back.
There you go. I hope that if Machine ever gets to a mic, I hope he doesn't get punched the way he's talking. All right. Is that it? Anything else? Omar, final comments going to earnings. In half hour, we're going to have a watch party before the earnings release. So earnings release is in about 1 hour. In half hour, YouTube is going to start a watch party. And we're going to go over for a half hour last quarter's earnings release. We're going to remember where we left off. And now we're going to listen to the earnings call together. And we're going to be active. I hope that some of the speakers will make it over there. And we're going to be active on live chat with questions, answers, comments, grievances, etc. Machine?
My prediction is, you know what? No one cares about my prediction.
Yeah, correct. Gary?
Hey, I guess I never visited this space since the 1010 event. I had some tidbits regarding the Cybercab prototypes that were being driven around 1010. So there was 20 of them. 19 of them were actually driving. The 20th was on display at the front of the stage. They worked. The design center produced them all in Hawthorne. So if you consider that 20 prototype working vehicles, it was quite an all hands effort.
Yeah, we talked about these things on the spaces that you missed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there anything new and original you want to add?
Well, the Robovan wasn't even started by 88, so that's kind of an interesting point.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Oh.
Anything else? Yeah, sounds like you should have come to the other spaces.
Well, I guess maybe somebody listened to me somewhere else, and
I
then
don't
they
think
passed it
so.
on.
I don't think so. Okay. All right, we have a couple minutes left. Omar, any final words before today's earnings release? What do you expect for the stock price in the coming days?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it goes down. I'm kind of hoping it goes down. I want to add more shares. I'm not thinking the financial results will be too great, but also with low expectations, it can be easy to beat. I'm really looking at this from a product perspective. I want to know more about their product plan. I want to know more about FSD 13. That's the exciting part for me here. The financials probably won't be that exciting. Yesterday I was driving on FSD in my Model 3 and there was construction. They shut down the entire road and they had cones and they were telling people go drive on the other side of the road and actually take turns. They had crossing guards and the other side of the road would go, then they'd stop them, then this side of the car would go. And FSD just handled it completely on its own. So it handled it perfectly, just like the other cars. It's an unscripted scenario. It wouldn't fit with the HD map, right? But this sort of end-to-end approach, it can sort of improvise. It can figure things out in a way that is just far beyond anything else I've ever seen. So they have an absolutely huge product here with Tesla AI. These models that can move the cars, the robots through the world. I think it's really going to be huge. And I'm just really excited to hear more about that, hear about the Cortex build out, and just hear what more about the 1010 event and the products unveiled there as well.
Great. Machine?
I expect if they are able to specify their product roadmap for the next year or two in some more detail, that could support the company in the earnings expectations and support the stock price in the next quarter, 2 quarters. However, if they don't specify that, then I would expect the stock price to correct down into the upper 100s. Fact is that the P ratio still is pretty high, and a lot of that is based on expectations of future things, as vehicles and robotaxis that, as time goes on, aren't further clarified, that there could be downward pressure. And this is all temporary, right? Long term, things are fine. But short term, it requires a narrative and specifics, not just a narrative like a 1010 event. So I hope they're able to provide some of that evidence. If not, then, Omar, you'll get your wish for Tesla's stock price to go down. Heard here first. I hope that gets disseminated. And as for the people in the comments, I get lots of comments of people saying to Yaman, don't let machine on. And I go to their profile and they say they're a free speech absolutist.
I mean,
That's
I
very
honestly,
interesting.
I've never seen anyone who has, taken this space very seriously and contributed either as a speaker or a patron or subscriber, member on YouTube. Like there's a few hundred people who take this space very seriously and want to succeed at a very deep level. And never seen any one of those people say anything negative about it. It's always the people who are kind of like drive-by shooters who hide behind anonymous accounts, who try to control the space without contributing anything, which is ridiculous. And so to those people, go fuck yourself. And all right, in half hour, YouTube live watch party starts. Uzi, are you going to be able to make it?
I'll try to. I might have to jump off.
Okay, great. And then maybe JC, maybe Hustletown, or anyone else who are in the DM group. I'm gonna send a StreamYard link to the DM group. You can come up as a speaker to the watch party. Otherwise, you can also join the YouTube live chat, and we're gonna be very active on there with questions and answers and comments on YouTube live chat during this. This is gonna take about 2 hours. We're gonna start half hour before the event. It's going to go on for the call, duration of the call. And so the link at the top of your screens to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much, everybody. Chat with you in about half hour. Take care.